After previously opposing such plans for years, Boston Assembly Republicans announced Tuesday they would pursue legislation this week that seeks to use an Iowa-style nonpartisan redistricting model that would allow the Nonpartisan Legislative Reference Bureau to write new legislative maps instead of partisans.
I accept your plan. Let's quit now while we're ahead. This is a great deal for everyone, for the state of Wisconsin. I can live with these terms. Please continue.
It is also a new direction for Voss, who over the last month warned newly seated Supreme Court Justice Janet Protasewicz was risking being impeached by the Assembly if she did not recuse, etc.
It would be a tremendous step in the right direction.
Which means they're more concerned about getting less Republicans if the liberals drew the maps.
You're getting rolled. And his response, State Representative Ron Tussler's response was, perhaps, why do you think we are all of a sudden in favor of something that we were against?
Ooh.
It's like, oh, were you supposed to admit that publicly?
I don't think so. They keep saying real things out loud. That's really going to trip them up.
But this is, to be fair, this is what a pressure campaign is supposed to do.
Do not underestimate what Robin Voss is trying to do here. By saying we want rebranding, we the Republicans want rebranding, he can now turn around and say it's those Democrats, they are the activist judges. And for folks who don't follow these things carefully, and for local media who do a poor job of telling the full story, the surface story that they're likely to report will come off sounding like, oh, the Republicans are being mature and embracing nonpartisan, and it's the Democrats who are being activist and not being nonpartisan. So we may get a good laugh about it, but this is a very real strategic move that will work in some people's minds.
Just a couple of minutes left before the break. Trygve Olson, Lincoln Project. You grew up in the River Falls area. You talk about your beer-drunken buddies up there all the time, not too far from Lake Wissota. How do you think this plays with them, this impeachment?
I think impeachment wasn't playing well. In fact, I know that because I talked to some of them, called a few of them to see. I think, what Voss has done now by proposing the Iowa system, and now pivoting back today after Evers said he would likely veto it, to we're going to impeach, is he's created an opportunity for himself to pass point to sort of cloud the narrative. That it's, in fact, we offered a reasonable solution when they basically used a backpack bomber strategy to do that. So, I think there is a risk that Democrats could overplay their hand on this. At the same time, they're winning at the moment.
Right. And that's where, again, it comes down to that messaging, and Wickler and company have done a good job messaging that this first part of it about the impeachment. But if Democrats, look obstinate, look like they're blocking actual reform, this one's a bit more finessed. How do you finesse that nonpartisan staff could still be big-footed by Robin Voss? I mean, you look at a couple of audit reports lately, and that audit bureau does not look like it's been free from influence. But again, that's really inside stuff that maybe only we get. So it's a very real thing that Democrats overplay this.
It's interesting to me that Voss and those guys went with the Iowa plan rather than the Michigan one, right? Like the counter from Democrats could, in fact, be let's do Michigan, where it's a bipartisan commission draws it, and the legislature only has an up-down. And maybe that's the strategy to try and get it to be something more like Michigan. But
well, I know Deb Andraka and Jeff Smith have tried to start to go there. And if they can synthesize around a way to say, hey, we're all for reform, but let's do it the right way, that'll work. But if they play all or nothing with the Supreme Court, it could backfire.
Yeah, it really could.